Hello, everyone. You're listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, and this is the Chicks Passion Show. I am Cece Schatz, a doyen of relationship building, and I usually have my sidekick, Kathy Lamb, but she's not on tonight, so we're hoping that she's going to be joining us soon. However, I just want to point out that we have our website up there, which is goingsolomedia.com, and of course, if you want to email us, just email goingsolonetwork@gmail.com. So here we go. We're going to kick off the show. I think Kathy's joining us. Let's see. Let me just give her 1 minute here to pop up. I'm not sure to see her pretty face here because you guys don't want to see me all night long now, do you? But we do have a wonderful guest here that's with us. I see Kathy trying to join us, so we'll move on with our wonderful guest here today.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. My lighting, it's kind of groovy in here. It's like
I know. Well, this is Amy Lyle. She's the author of the Book of Failures. You're a wonderful speaker. You've got a great show, and we're going to talk about attitude and wit gets us through. And so Kathy's trying to join us, so as soon as she can, we will have her up. So let's talk a little bit about you and your journey. You've written this wonderful book. Let me put it up for everybody so they have it right there. They can find it on Amazon. And it's a great book. We've had you on the show before.
Yes, you have. Thank you for inviting me back.
Yeah, it's so cool. And you're from Atlanta, right?
Well, I'm from the Midwest. I'm from Ohio, but I've been in Georgia longer than I was in Ohio now. I've been down here since I graduated from college.
Yeah, well, that's great. So let's talk a little bit about Chicks Passion and your journey. Now you're not really a comedian though, are you? You see,
I do stand-up comedy in Atlanta at the Basement or the Punchline. So I do stand-up comedy. I was doing it at least once a month. And then COVID hit. So now I'm supposed to do it again November 1st. But I don't go anywhere or travel anywhere. I just like to do it at the places in Atlanta. Because there's no money in it unless you get like a Netflix special.
Well, let's hope. Wouldn't that be fun? Well, I was going to say too, here, maybe she's says host can add me to the broadcast, but we can't see you. You don't have your camera on, Kathy. Let me just tell her that. Wait. Oh, here we go.
We I forgot to pop that camera up.
Well, we're talking to Amy here, Amy Lyle, and she wrote the Book of Failures. She's a wonderful speaker. And we were talking about her being a comedian. And I thought to myself, is she a comedian? Because she really just talks about life experiences stuff, life stuff. And it's so friggin' funny at times, the things that we go through, that it amazes me. So let's talk a little bit about that, because I know Kathy and I go through a lot of funny things together.
Yeah, I think my favorite comedians are, a lot of comedy comes from pain and suffering, right? It's a coping mechanism. And my favorite comedians like Ellen DeGeneres and Kevin Hart, Eddie Murphy, even Jerry Seinfeld, like they had really wonky childhood, sometimes traumatizing things happening in their childhood. And it just like you don't plan for that, but somehow you just have this coping mechanism that works for you. And, for a long time in my life, I was a salesperson and a corporate trainer. And, it was just part of my shtick, right? Like it's much easier to listen to somebody giving you a lot of content if they're funny and interesting. And so I always wove it in there. And then many years ago, my sister sent in remember those old camcorders, and it had like a VCR size tape in there. You know what I mean?
I remember.
Yes. And so she recorded me on that, and she sent it into like America's Funniest Moms. and I got a spot in Atlanta at the Funny Bone. And I'll never forget, I did this whole bit about, it's so funny because I hear comedians doing it now. I'm like, wait a minute, I did that 15 years ago. But it was about Disney and portraying princesses. It's like, they'll do anything to get a man, right? Like they'll change their species, they'll pretend they're asleep, in the wilderness and all that stuff. So that's how the stand-up started. And I didn't win the contest. There were a lot of professional comedians that were competing and they won and got to advance. But like I got the bug for being on stage and hearing people laugh. It's kind of an addiction. Yeah. So then later in life, then I was able to, anyway, then I wrote the book and other things have happened, since then.
Well, if you think about all the things, I know, Kathy, if you think about all the things that happen, that are funny to us, it's, it amazes me. And especially now going through this time, with the COVID and everything, laughter is important, smiling is important, taking things,
Yeah. Speaking of Disney, I remember, do you guys remember the AOL chat rooms?
No, I know what they are. I never participated.
I don't know if they still have it or not, but I used to get on there and I used to say I was, I used to say I was Snow White from Disney World. And people would believe me.
You were Snow White?
I was Snow White from Disney.
Well, you're busted now. So
I don't even know.
He's over.
That's hilarious. That you're Snow White. Yeah, think about all the different things that we do. I mean, it's like, I know I was just telling Amy how we went on vacation, right? And we went to go eat in Savannah and they gave us like all this food. And we ordered our meal and everything. And then they said, oh, we're giving you extra food. We just had to laugh. We were like, what do they think? We're starving? What did they give us? They gave us so much stuff, didn't they?
We did a big video on it. It was just funny. She did one and I did one and combined together. I think the whole thing was funny.
Like did you try something or what was, why did they give extra?
Well, Cece was said it made sense that they were at the end of their lunchtime hour, and so they were trying to just throw in, but we didn't know that. We were like,
gotcha.
We're like, oh my God, we have a feast just for the two of us. There's way too much food for us.
Like, can we put it in our pockets? Can we?
I know you hit the jackpot. I would love that. That'd be so great. I love Savannah. We were talking to Cece and I were talking about before the show. Savannah is so beautiful and
it is
in history. And the next city you guys should hit is Charleston, which is
somebody was asking why we didn't go there, but
great food and great rich history and those beautiful homes that are now some of them are $20 million there that face the ocean. It's crazy.
Oh, we'll have to go there. That'll be the next on our list. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we had so much fun. And when we did the video, right, I did the video and I said that Kathy was eating all this food. I thought it was so funny. She didn't think it was very funny, but I thought that was
I'm surprised. I only gained 2 pounds. I thought I was going to have at least 5 pounds.
I don't even think about it. I don't even.
We ate so much.
So we had fun though. But we walked so much. We had a good time. We had a real good time.
Did you eat some, shrimp? That's where shrimp comes from, that area,
Well, when we found that one particular restaurant, I was asking the trolley driver where can we eat around there and he said, what kind of food do you want? I said, I want Savannah food.
Yeah.
and so he named off a few restaurants, but then he said, but if you want some really, really good Southern food, you got to go to this place. And that's where we went. And we were just so happy with that place.
So Mrs. Wilkes, right? It was Mrs. Wilkes.
Oh, yeah. Family style?
Yes.
Yeah. You've been there?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, it's great. There's another great restaurant. I should ask my husband, but I don't know if I remember. It's it was literally in a funeral parlor, like gigantic house with 15 rooms, and now it's like this cool restaurant bar. Everything has such a history there, and Savannah's built on a graveyard. That's why it's so haunted. And Charleston's built, it's all on graves and everything. But great cities, great southern cities.
Yeah, for sure. We had a great time. But again, we had just had fun laughing and enjoying ourselves and not taking things too seriously. And it was great.
She made me steal a brick.
What? That's a story.
What?
Remember, you made me steal a brick?
Oh, yes. Oh, let's tell everyone this. Okay, so Kathy is a big gardener, and she's got this gorgeous backyard. She has a tea room that she has built in her backyard and all these beautiful plants and all this stuff. And so they're tearing up the streets of Savannah there, and they're redoing it. And there's all these bricks there. So I said, steal a brick, take a brick home, take a brick home, put it in your garden, right? So we decided, instead of taking the brick, the red brick, we found a cobblestone, which would probably be very old.
It was a cobblestone.
Yeah. So
the cobblestone came off a ship,
Yeah.
the ship. That's what the
Did it? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So we looked all around. We're scoping the territory, watching.
Picked one out, and I'm like, oh, let me shop around for a little bit, and then I'm really nervous about going in there, to pick it out. Somebody's gonna see me and tell me, it was kind of a long ordeal. And then she said, don't worry, I have to get back.
Did you see the news story? Is it Pompeii, where the volcano and the people live? And so it was just in the news this week, about a woman returned. She had taken some artifacts 15 years ago, and she said she had nothing but bad luck for 15 years. She wrote this confessional letter, and I'm so sorry, and she sent it back. And the funniest thing about the story was the guy that they were asking about this. They have a museum there because so many people do that, and they return. It happens all the time. People steal stuff and they have bad luck, and they send letters of confessions. I'm so sorry I took that, and they return the artifacts. If you're having bad luck, Kathy, you got to take that back. You got to take that back if you start having bad luck.
And that's what they say about the lava rocks in Hawaii, that, people, they can't take those, if they take them, they're bad luck. Yeah. So I haven't had,
no.
I have wrote some.
I didn't take it. And I just suggested it.
Well, nobody said to get bad luck from those things. So we got.
So I just suggested it. But you were saying, then she says to me, Amy, she goes, I'm going to paint the rock. I said, no, don't paint the rock. That's the whole thing, is that it's original.
Yeah, those cobblestones, the ships would come over from Europe, and they may not have a lot in them. So to balance themselves, they put those rocks in there, and then they dump the rocks off. And so that's what they build everything out of, was those rocks.
Well, listen to you. You are
and then, of course, that was a huge market, that port there, for lumber and, of course, cotton and all kinds of goods. It was a huge port. It was a port to protect Charleston. And then Darien, Georgia was a port to protect Savannah. So you had to go through three things before they attacked.
We didn't learn all that stuff when we were there.
Yeah.
To tell us that.
Yeah. It's an important part of history, actually. Yeah. Like, one time in the world, the greatest banks in the world were like Boston, New York City, and in South Georgia, and Darien, Georgia, were the banking capitals. It was the lumber trade and the cotton trade and all that stuff. All that money flowed through there. And so interesting. Of course, a very sad history with a lot of the civil rights issues and all that stuff. A lot of that area was built by slave labor, literally. So that's a very sad part of that history. But they certainly are rich in history with all that they have done and been through. And
so your little cobblestone could have been on a ship.
It was on a ship.
It was on a ship.
Your cobblestone was on a ship.
It was on a ship.
I need to have
years ago. Yeah.
I need to have it certified.
Certified.
You know what? That could be a collector's item now. You could really.
I don't know.
You'll have magical about those cobblestones. Like, have you ever been out west to like Lake Tahoe? And the people are fly fishing, and the water is only like a couple inches deep, and it's going over those cobblestones. It's something like so magical.
Oh yeah, they have this the river rocks in Tennessee. I love that.
Yes.
Watch the water go over those river rocks. It's so pretty.
Yeah, people need to get outside. I'm glad you went on vacation. I was just listening to something today, and it was a TED Talk, and they were talking about how good it is to go outside and like you're saying, and be in nature or be out. People, you get depressed. People are locked up and they're scared to go anywhere, and they should be cautious, of course, but you need to get outside to a highly populated area and breathe fresh air and be in the sunlight and be grateful for the stuff that we have. It's so hard. People are getting depressed.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I think you should charge admission now to your backyard because you have those
you put a little sign.
That's right.
Yeah.
You put a little plaque on the outside of your house. I have artifacts.
It's my own little
various states.
It's my own little secret garden.
Yeah. Artifacts stolen from various cities in the United States.
Yeah. I have to put a plaque under it and set it on top of it. This is
For sure. Well, I will tell you, ladies, will share with you. I did get out today and I drove my my golf cart around.
Nice. That's outside.
Yes. I was zooming down the road. I loved it. Let my hair.
Yeah. You took like a mental health loop.
Yeah. So I live in a
55 plus.
Yes, 55 plus community. And so now I'm officially a senior citizen because I have a golf cart. So I love it. I go all around.
I'm just waiting for you to decorate it for Thanksgiving and Christmas. And Halloween, you got to do it.
Yeah, I'll work on that this weekend. I'll work on it and then we'll post. I'll post them. Yeah. Because got to do that. Got to do the lights.
So, Amy, I want to know about the failures that are funny.
Like, you want to know why I wrote them, or just want to hear some of them?
I want to hear some of them.
Well,
you don't give away too much ebook, but
so this Cece told me, a lot of single people. Hello, single ladies. I'm not single, but I have been single, much of my life, and I got divorced and I was single for a while. And I do write. Cece, I may have told you the story in the last one, but no one's going to remember this. So my best single story in the book is my mother's like, you need to fish where the fish are. You need to go to the gym. And I hated to go to the gym, but I didn't have cable because I was so cheap. So I went to the gym and I watched Sex and the City on the, treadmill, right? And I'd only walk like 2 miles an hour. And nobody paid me any mind. And then one day I went in there after I'd been going in there for like a couple of weeks, and all these men started coming by, and I was like, maybe this is working, like I'm looking good. Like all these men are like stopping and stop. And so I'd like picked up a jog, but then immediately I was like completely winded, in like less than 1 minute, and very sweaty and thirsty. So I stepped off and went to the restroom. And when I went to the restroom, I was like, oh my gosh, you can see that woman's nipple, because there was a giant mirror. And then I was like, oh, it's my nipple. And I had this like white t-shirt on, like a burnout thin t-shirt, and my sports bra had gotten under my boob and I was all sweaty. And so it was like a one boob wet t-shirt contest. And that's one of the stories I have in there. And, as I walk out, I weigh myself and I'd gained 5 pounds. They had these wonderful chocolate banana protein shakes that were for like recovery. If you like swam 500 yards or you like worked out, but I'd only like walk on the treadmill, but I'd get the recovery shake.
That sounds like me.
2,000 calories in it. So it's gaining weight going to the gym. But anyway, that's one of the stories. Another one of the stories, I was in my car. This is a single story. And this super cute guy like was honking at me on Abernathy Road in Atlanta. And I was like, oh my gosh, he's honking at me. Like, I mean, normally I wouldn't reply to somebody that was honking at me, but he had like a nice car and he had this like really nice suit on with like a polka dot tie. And I was like, oh, he's like professional yet playful. In my mind, I was working out all the details. And when we stopped, he like rolled down his window and wanted me to roll down my window. So I rolled down my window. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, your bell like is dragging on the road. And
He said it like that?
Yeah, no, he didn't sound like a stoner, but still, in my, he ruined it for me because he was so cute, and then he just sped off, and that was it. And in my mind, I was like, I wonder if his parents have like a mountain home, or wonder where we'll get married. Like, I know in my mind, in 30 seconds, I'd build up this relationship with this nice man, and then really, it's just like, hey, your belt's, and I was like, oh, thanks.
And isn't that funny that we do that when we meet somebody, where we get all those thoughts that go through our head about, okay, they got this one, and this is about their personality and that, and where is it going to go, and you get all these imaginary things that are going to happen.
Yeah. And my picker was bad. It really was. And my girlfriend set me up, and I was like, I don't want to go out with him. I kind of know him. And it was somebody from my neighborhood. And I was like, no, my sister used to like him. He's not nice to me. And she's like, go out with him. And then we got married 6 months later. So it's like, wow. Sometimes if I, would have continued dating the same person that I always dated, I kind of chase like that classic, like, person that doesn't like anyone. And so when they like you, you feel very special, right?
Mm-hmm.
For a couple months, you feel special because they don't like anyone. Well, very quickly, then they don't like you.
Don't like you either.
Don't like you either. So I just fell for that same guy, my whole life. So then she fixed me up with this super, super sweet guy.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
Happy ever after story.
I don't know about that, but
happy ever after.
Yeah, I mean, we were a blended family before kids, so I don't. It's tumultuous, okay. But it's good.
It's just ever after. No happy in there when you
happy and sad. Happy and sad.
That's right.
Like any relationship, right?
Yeah. Now you have your own show now. So tell us a little bit about that. Yeah,
it's so fun. After I wrote the book, I was invited on a show in Atlanta called Atlanta and Company, and it's on it's an NBC affiliate, and it's on in the middle of the day, like 11 to 1 or something. And I started to be a guest there every other Tuesday on their Real Talk panel at the end. It's like 10 or 15 minutes, and it's just like this. It's like women get together, we can talk about parenting or relationships or whatever. And another station saw me, this UI Media, and they're like, oh, hey, would you ever want to host for our show? Like if somebody was out of town, like first they had me as a guest, and if somebody was out of town, they had me on. And then they're like, would you want to have your own show? And I really did. I wanted to have like a Jimmy Fallon type comedy show, but the problem is Jimmy Fallon probably has 35 writers. I mean, you know what I mean? And 10 cameramen. And so I thought, well, I'll do a different kind of show. So I invited another host, Gina Riles. And so together we have this talk show called In the Burbs. And, you can watch it on UI Media or on Facebook or on YouTube or wherever. But we're having a lot of fun. And we like you guys, we feature a lot of creative, dynamic, women, like a lot of authors or comedians or, just all philanthropic people. And it's kind of fun.
Yeah, it sounds like a great show. And, isn't it amazing how you'll walk down a path, right, in your life, and you'll take all these different, deviated tours to it, and just things happen.
Yeah, I wanted to, my whole creative career started because I wrote a movie script, and I wanted to get this movie script made, and this attorney turned me down. He's like, you're nobody, you don't have any money, so you need to get on the map. And I was like, how do I get on the map? And he's like, you need to write a book, and you need to get a lot of press for the book. And when I search your name, it better come up with something funny. And so that's why I wrote the book. And then I wrote the book 3 years ago, but I started writing the screenplay almost 10 years ago. And it's just only recently, it's I got picked up by a producer, and then there was some legislation in Georgia going on. So then I got dropped because it was hashtag boycott Georgia. I don't know if you remember that in the film industry. It was boycott Georgia, cancel Georgia. And so a lot of the investors, anyone that was in Hollywood, pulled out of Georgia for independent films. And I got dropped. And then just recently I got picked up again by someone that's I think this script would make a great sitcom. And so I'm like, okay. So they're like, okay, write the pilot and 2 episodes. So that's what I'm doing now. And I am excited about it. It would be a dream come true. That would be a dream job for me, just to write a sitcom that's, 20 to 27 minutes. It's so awesome. But I won't believe it until I have a check in front of me. You know how that works?
Yeah, sure. Well, it's just great to be creative, and you definitely are. So you've taken, maybe something that was a no, and you've kind of worked it around to where it's a very positive experience all the way around. So
it is, and there's lots of challenges, right? There's lots of boxes to check off. Like Cece, you and I were talking about doing speaking engagements. I was doing some speaking engagements, and I'm like, what would be the Super Bowl? I want more speaking engagements. How could I get more speaking engagements? And someone's like, well, you need a TED Talk. If you get a TED Talk, you'll get speaking engagements. So I was like,
I love TED Talk.
So it took me 100 applications. I mean, I filled out applications every day because, there's every city in the country has a TED Talk. I mean, Atlanta might have 10. Emory University puts one on, Decatur puts one on, Georgia State, UPS, the organization, the company puts one on. And so I just applied, and they warned me. They said it could take up to 300 applications. That's what they said. And wow. I finally got one, and I'm so excited about it. So I've already sent it into them. So say a prayer, but
let us know. We want to see it.
So I can't wait. I mean, there would be no reason for them. They already approved it, right? You have to send that. You have to do the talk via Zoom, and then edit it, and then you have to do it again. I just, because of COVID, I couldn't record it in Boston. I recorded it in Atlanta, and then I sent it to them. But anyway, I'm like, do you ever do things and you're like, this is what's going to change my life, and then it doesn't?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That was 20 of those moments. I'm like, I'm going to get on this television show. It's going to change my life. And it doesn't. I'm like, I don't read this book. It's going to change my life. And it doesn't. I mean, it does change your life. It makes your life rich, but not money rich. But you do have to. It is like, if I could pick something to be on my tombstone or whatever, it would be like, she led an interesting life. And I feel like I grew up in the Midwest. I'm not trying to pick on my parents, because it was a different time, socioeconomically, a lot of different things were going on. Women didn't have as many opportunities. But I feel like a lot of people did not live interesting lives. They went to work and they came home. And if you're a mom, you just vacuum. Like their lives weren't that creative or rich.
When you go through that stage in your life where you start having kids, and it's almost, when I look back at it, that's part of my life that I was not me. I was an alien or something, that I was just doing this robot stuff, just taking care of this. And then when all of that was done, raising the kids and doing that, and it took a while, but I became alive again. And I became me. There was a me.
Moms that do both now, right, Kathy? Like, there's so many moms, even if they're doing a podcast one day a week, or they're writing a short story, or they're writing a poem, or they are volunteering in some kind of environment that they love. Like, I'm so glad that people are doing that, because
I admire women that can be raising their family and then can get involved in things too at the same time. I was not able to do that. My hours were, I worked at nighttime, and then during the time, it was a weird life I had. It was weird.
When I had my daughter, I was when she was 3, I was a single mom, and I traveled. I was a corporate trainer, and traveled half the time, so I wasn't doing anything creative. But I commend the moms that can. Now my kids are older, but I see moms now with little kids, and they're doing fun, creative things. So if they have the finances to do that or whatever.
And, maybe now with the COVID too, people have more time to spend with their kids to, learn about. I mean, if you look back and before we had computers and all of this kind of stuff, what did people do with their kids then? I mean, this is like long before TVs. What did they do with their kids? They did other things, and I think it's great.
My parents never did anything with us. We just went outside and then we had dinner and went to bed. Like we didn't, I'm not trying to criticize them. I'm just saying it was a different time. Like, they didn't like sit on the floor and play with us or engage us. They didn't do that. They were just like, I don't know. It was weird. They were just like these dictators.
I
Yeah.
agree with that. It's true that
That's what it was with me growing up too. I don't remember any type of parental thing except for being, they were the boss. That's all.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Cece?
Well, I agree with that. I think a lot of times they were just working and they didn't really do anything. The only thing I really remember, well, we used to go camping a lot. My every weekend we'd go camping, and then my whole family would go, like my aunts and uncles and cousins and everybody. We'd all go, and so that was a lot of fun. But I remember my dad letting us skip school, and if it was a snow day, and we could skip school and stay home, and my mom would make a big pot of chili, and we'd play cards all day in our pajamas.
Oh, that's a good memory.
Yeah, my dad would play cards with us all the time. He used to get mad because we'd win. But
I never played cards with my dad my entire life.
Yeah, but we all stayed in our pajamas. I mean, my dad stayed with his pajamas. We stayed in our pajamas.
Oh, that's so sweet. I've done that with my husband before. Like all the kids will be like, at camp, when they're little or whatever. And we'd have like a couple days with the kids, which was so weird. And I'd be like, let's do an island day. And you weren't allowed to leave the island. The island was either the couch or the bed. You couldn't leave that. You could only go to get snacks, and you had to come back to the island, and you could read or listen to something or, fool around or watch movies or whatever, but kind of the same.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's really being creative. I think that we've had to, because of this virus, we've had to start being a little bit more creative and stop so much of the working, because we're working it from home. So we've got to try to have some sort of break in there. But yeah, so it's
so what kind of memories do you have when you were raising your kids that kind of sticks with you? Something comes to mind. The reason why I said that is something comes to mind that I used to do with my kids when it came to eating dinner. We always sat at the table to eat dinner every night. That was the thing. We never, went different places. We had dinner together. But anyways, once in a while they'd say, "Oh, I don't like that. I don't like this, or I don't like that," and I'd play this thing like, "Really? You liked it the last time I had it? You liked it the last time?" And they're like, "Really?"
Yes. Love it.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. And, I remember a time that we were all sitting at the table, and I come from a big family. So we're all sitting at the table, and my father said to they're one on one side, one on the other side. And my father said to my mother, "Throw me the mashed potatoes."
Instead of
And she used to hate that. She used to hate when you didn't pronounce things or say things properly. And I know that she's passed now, so I'm sure she's like throwing things at me down here. But she I remember that she looked at my father, and we all looked at her, and she just took like a big scoop and went like that and threw it at him.
What? Did he laugh?
And my dad, he was like that, and then it just started laughing. It was hilarious. I mean, we all laughed, and then of course we had to clean up the mess. But it was very, very funny, because at first we thought my dad was going to get really mad. My mom did it, and but she did it for fun, and it was a funny experience. But yeah,
I don't have like I'm not like a jealous person. Like I'm sometimes jealous of people's intellect and talent, where I wish, I was smarter, I was more talented, of course. But I don't have any jealousy over people's, things or, material things. But I will admit, I'm so jealous when people have a great childhood. I really am, because I had a very dysfunctional childhood. And, my daughter had this great childhood. And it's like, I feel like I'm launching this human being into the world with like a whole heart. Like when you grow up in a lot of dysfunction and violence, it's like you always feel it's your fault, and you you're always walking on eggshells, and you don't, you don't feel, there's nothing consistent in your life. And so sometimes it makes you kind of narcissistic and, me. And, that it creates that behavior. Usually when you see someone behaving that way, that's probably why, right? They're, acting out. And so I'm so proud that the way I raised her and the way she is, and that she just has a heart to help other people, because she was launched into the world with a whole heart. She's always felt very loved, even though her dad and I are divorced. We both love her so much, and her stepmom loves her, and her stepdad loves her, and her step siblings love her. So it's that's the one thing I'm jealous of, people that have great memories with their parents. And I'm like,
I know what you mean. I relate to that a lot. So
I'm sorry, what?
I said, I know what she means, because I relate to that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And you know my story, Cece.
Yeah. Well, I don't think our family, I think there was a lot of dysfunctional parts in it. I mean, because I think a lot of families are dysfunctional. We just don't know. We don't come with a manual, right? So we don't know that our family is dysfunctional until we start talking to other people. And then we try to assess, okay, well, maybe my family isn't as dysfunctional as your family was. So, okay, so maybe mine wasn't quite so bad. Or then you'll say, oh, mine was really bad. Mine was,
Yeah.
So it's just getting through. And then I think learning the lessons, like I said to my daughter one time when she got mad at me, and I said, you didn't come with a manual, I don't really.
They literally send you home with like 3 pieces of paper.
I said, I'm doing the best I can do, but you didn't come with a manual. And so I just think that's the thing, is we just got to try, if we do the best we can do, and then
that's
we
all
hope
we can do.
that our
Sometimes we don't always make the right decisions on things, but we hope that, you do A, B, or C, and you pick B, and, hope that it's the right one. You don't know.
Yeah, it's the same for our parents. It's like, as I got older, they came from a different time, and they each had their own unique chaos and their own upbringing. And, my mom got married really young, and, she didn't know herself. And it was, you know what I mean? You give somebody grace, like it doesn't take away the pain and the hurt, but it also is like, you kind of feel sad for them, because it's, it wasn't a good situation, and that made them who they were. And they were so angry or whatever. So that's the thing. Even if you do have dysfunction, it's like, how can you learn from it, see the humor in it, make peace with it, and move on?
In my opinion, and it all depends on how you think about it. Things may have been rough for me growing up, but I always say it's what made me what I am today. It built my character, and I'm happy with who I am. I have bad memories, but I don't dwell on it. And I don't think anybody really should, because you have to be you, and you have to, let certain things go.
Yeah. And it usually gives you empathy. Like I tell
it definitely does that.
Like my favorite line from The Great Gatsby, remember it's one of the first lines where he said, remember, I'm going to mess up the line, but it's to the effect of like, remember, not everybody has had the same advantages as you. That was the line. And it's like that. I think if you grow up with some dysfunction in your life or pain or whatever, you really see people like with bad behavior in a different way. Like, you don't know what happened to them this morning. You don't know what they're going home to. You don't know. And so it makes you, I think, give people the benefit of the doubt more, not be as judgmental, because you don't know what's going on in somebody's life.
Right.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. I mean, it wasn't always, a bed of roses, our house, kids, and it was very noisy, and we only had one bathroom, and it was tough and stuff like that at times. But, there's also, I think you have to concentrate on the good things that you have in your life and savor those, and the joy, and that's why I thought, Amy, you'd be so great to be on here, because I think laughter and our attitudes and our wit and all of that is important as we move forward in our lives.
It's really important. And when I was researching the TED Talk, I was just engrossed. Sometimes I would get like, wait a minute, I'm not doing a, academic talk. I'm allowed to do a funny talk, but I wanted to back it up with a lot of data. And you would be amazed of the studies like Vietnam POWs saying that they preserve their sanity because they were able to connect through humor in a POW camp. Breast cancer study after breast cancer study after cancer study talking about laughter therapy and humor and how they felt less anxiety, less stress, less depression. Like, it's real. It's a real thing to, when you say, I give the example, and this story's it's so funny because the story's in my book, but I never told the next thing that happened, which is funny too. So I fell down this flight of stairs at my office a long time ago, and it had these very grand staircases where it's like it'd go down maybe like 15 steps. It was like a platform, and then it angled down. And I fell so hard that I hit that platform, and I kept going, and I slid on the
Wow.
Oh, and I really hurt myself. I was humiliated. The second floor was open. Everybody's looking down at me. I was cursing and screaming on the way down. My dress was rolled up. My suit was rolled up.
Oh my God.
My toes rolled down. Like, it was humiliating. And later I got on the elevator, and this woman, she was helping me twist my skirt back around. She's like, but did you chip your teeth? No, I didn't chip my teeth. And in that moment, she shared the story, how she had this fall and she had chipped her teeth. And I started laughing, and she started laughing. And just in that moment of knowing that somebody knew what I was going through, it was like, I was going to quit my job. I was so humiliated. I'm like, I'm not coming back in this office. And you'd be amazed of how many people came up to me like, oh my gosh, Amy, I fell down. I was at a funeral and I fell down. And it's like, that's what perfection is, a repellent. It is the messy stuff of our lives that bring us together. Mm-hmm. And if you can see the humor of that, you may not see the humor in it right now, but I give the examples like, that's why women have more than one child. Like, all that pain and suffering, they forget, right? And they look back and they tell the story of the horrific 48-hour labor. They tell the story of this, and they tell the story. But eventually you can see the humor in it. I just think we're in this like cancel culture, and everybody's so serious, and I don't know. It's just that's really damaging to our souls. You should be, as long as you're not exploitive or bitter or making fun of somebody else. Seeing the humor in ourselves also allows you to see that, give grace to other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you realize I'm not perfect, I don't expect you to be perfect.
Right.
We need more of that in the world, for sure.
Yeah, you're going down the stairs reminds me. Everybody's stories always reminds me of somebody else, of my own story.
That's my point.
Okay, so I'm at work and I'm going. There's these file floor to ceiling file cabinets, and I'm looking for a file, and I'm going around, and I'm trying to move fast because I need to get fast. And this girl was on the floor looking for a file, and I come around and I fell over her, and when I fell over her, we both kind of did this tumble together. And when we stood up, we were like, okay, straighten up our clothes, let's go. Sorry. And I keep picturing this rolling tumble that we did.
I know, who hasn't fallen down in public, but if it's never happened to you before in such a grand thing, you
right.
No one else has done it before.
Everybody's fallen. I think I shared this story one time too, is that I had gone into this room and it was a big networking affair and everything, and I was, single, of course, and I was all dressed really nice and everything. And I go in, I make this entrance, and people are looking at me and stuff. And my girlfriends are all, see, all this kind of stuff. And as I step, I didn't realize there was a step down. And when I stepped down, I started to fall. And this beautiful, wonderful hunk of a man tried to save me. And as he did, I ripped the shirt right off his back.
The crowd.
And I just ripped it right down to where it was around his. I said, I'm so sorry. I'm just like,
I'm so sorry.
Now, Stacey, I think you did that one on purpose.
I know, but he didn't ask me for my number or anything.
Sure. I'm asking for his number. Say, look, I need your number so I can get you a new shirt.
Yeah,
That's
I was
right.
dying. I was dying. But yeah, well, listen, we're gonna have to go. But before we go, time went by so quickly. But Amy, now share it with us one more time again. Let's make sure we have all of your information. Here's your book here.
Yeah, the Book of Failures, and you can find it on Amazon or Barnes & Noble or Walmart, wherever you buy books normally. And my second book is We're All a Mess, It's Okay. Great message for today. We're all a mess, it's okay. And then my social media is Amy Lyle, or on Instagram, it's Amy Lyle Author. And then the show is In the Burbs with Amy and Gina.
In the Burbs. BURBS.
Yep, like suburbs, but in the burbs.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to know about your TED Talk too.
I know you. I'm going to ask you if I please email it to you. If you could please try to give it some distribution.
Oh yeah.
We'd be happy to get it around. We'd love to support you any way we can, for sure.
Thank you. Same for you guys. Let me know.
Sure. Yeah, no problem.
That's one thing I love about being a creative, of all the people that were in this together. And it's like, as we go up, we pull each other up. And it's cool. It's like, there's nothing you wouldn't do for me. There's nothing, I wouldn't do for you. And it's just like, it's such a beautiful community. You kind of know how like Kevin Hart feels. And, he was going to, stand-up comedy, and all those famous people are with him. And now they're, you know what I mean? It's the same.
Yeah.
They all started at the bottom, and we're all, raising each other up. It's awesome.
And that's the way it really should be. We should be helping each other, and not climbing on the backs, but actually pulling each other up. Yeah, that's the way it should be. Yeah, and I love to watch like the old movies, and you see like them some of the characters when they were younger, and you're thinking, oh yeah, that was before he was famous.
Yes.
So yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
they started somewhere, right?
Yeah, for sure. Well, this is wonderful. Thank you so much for being on Chicks Passion. We really do appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. I hope people laughed a couple times and it took them out of
We did.
The news. Get off of the news.
Now we know some stories about Kathy.
Yeah.
Tumbling at work.
Tumbling. I'll never forget that. That was
Did you chip your tooth?
Pardon? I did not chip a tooth. I just messed up my suit a little bit, and I had to stand up and straighten everything out. And
put your shoulder pads back in.
I wonder if you were on camera.
Oh man, I wish there was a camera there, because that would have been so funny. Yeah, I keep laughing over that all the time.
Would have been on the funniest videos.
Yeah.
Funniest videos. Yeah, a wealthy woman today.
Well, have a great weekend. Thank you guys so much.
So nice having you. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Okay.
Bye.
Bye. You're listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. This is the Chicks Passion. I'm Cece Schatz, and I have my good friend here with me.
And I'm Kathy Lamb.
And we'll see you bi-weekly, not next week, but the week after. Bye.
Bye.